Hello beautiful people and welcome back to my channel. If you are a new subscriber, welcome, and if you are a returning subscriber, welcome back. Everything that I use in this video will be listed down below. Please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and also share with a friend. I'm using this orange shade as my transition color, and I'm just pressing it into place and then blending it out. I'm going to build this color up until I'm satisfied with the shade, and you don't need a lot from this orange because it is pretty bold, and again it is a transition color. And the eyeshadow palette that I'm using, by the way, is the Rudementary Speyeshadows. This is the book number 7. Before I move on to the other side, I like to make sure that everything is nice and blended. And now I'm going to go in with this purple shade, and first I'm going to stamp that into place before blending it out. I do this so I can make sure that I like the placement, and then I'm going to buff that into the other shade. I'm also going to be switching back and forth between the brushes to make sure that they both blend together so I don't have any harsh lines. You want everything to flow. You also can go in with a clean brush to blend those two shades together if you don't feel comfortable going back into that orange to blend it. I'm going to repeat the same steps on this side, which is just stamping the color into place before blending up towards that orange, just to make sure that those colors blend perfectly together. You want to make sure that you like the placement of your eyeshadow before blending it. Now I'm going to go in with this like pinkish red shade, and I'm going to add that in the front of my lid right under the transition color as well as on top. And I'm going to blend those 3 shades together so everything can be nice and even. Once you are satisfied with how everything is blended together, you can move on to doing a cut crease. And I'm starting off with doing a guide. You don't have to do a guide if you don't want to, but it just makes it easier. When I'm doing my cut crease, I like to take my time and do like snapping motions to make sure that my line is nice and crisp. You don't necessarily have to do this step if you're going to be adding on any glitter or shimmer, unless the shimmer is really sheer. Then I suggest, instead of doing a cut crease, you wipe away some of that product that might have got on the front portion of your lid with some micellar water, and you just remove that excess eyeshadows, and then you go in with your product if you don't want to do a cut crease. And since I didn't use any translucent powder today, I'm going to just take this brush to blend out the rest of that concealer and dry it down. I'm also going to use my finger again to apply this shimmer. And when applying this shimmer, I am going to be dipping in quite a bit to kind of build that color up a bit until I'm satisfied with it. And actually, I was satisfied with the first swipe that I did, but I just wanted to build it up a little more so it really can show through. And I'm going to repeat the same steps on the opposite side. And now I'm just going back in with that red shade and I'm blending out that color just to make sure that everything blends together. I want that green and that red to kind of flow. And then I'm gonna also do the same thing with the orange as well as the purple. I'm going to dip back into that purple shade just to build that purple up a little bit more, and I'm going to also dip back into that green shade because I feel like some of the product was missing right there. Also ended up using my finger to blend out that purple and that green a little bit more. Now I'm going in with my foundation, starting off with a little at a time, and I'm just going to blend that all over my face, really focusing on the parts that I have the hyperpigmentation. And I'm really just taking my time with blending this out, really stamping everything into place before moving on to the other side. Now it's time to highlight my face. I'm going in with a little bit of concealer, and with this concealer, it's already a full coverage concealer, but the longer you let concealer sit, the more full coverage it would be. I'm just going to go ahead and blend this out on my nose, using my finger to really tap that into place to kind of dry that concealer down a little bit. And normally I would go in and use my brush to blend out my concealer, but I decided to go in with my sponge because I am going to be trying a different technique. So I'm just blending that out, really taking my time and lightly pressing that in, making sure that I still get that coverage that I want. Now that that concealer is blended out, I'm going back in with my foundation, and this is just to give me more coverage because this foundation is buildable, and I just wanted to do that so that the foundation can have time to sit on my skin to see what areas I needed to add a little more. Now I'm going back in with my concealer, adding just a little bit. And while I let this sit for a little while, I am going to go in with my bronzer. And on my forehead, I wasn't going to add any concealer at first. That's why I didn't add it the first time. But I decided to just go ahead and add some and then blend that out. And now I'm just taking some bronzer to add a little more color back into my face, adding on a little at a time and seeing if I need to build it up. With this particular bronzer, you want to use a little bit at a time because it is very pigmented. I like to take my foundation brush to blend out my bronzer. This helped me blend everything together as well as get rid of any harsh lines that I may have. Now that that's all nice and blended, I'm going back in and blending out that concealer. And this time I'm going to be using my brush to blend that out before going back in with my sponge. Rarely see me use a sponge because I'm trying to get as much coverage, and a sponge is soaking up most of that product, so that way you'll have to use more product, and I want to use less as possible. Now I'm going to set that concealer into place, and I'm going in with my translucent powder, really making sure that I don't have any creasing up under my eyes, and I'm just adding a little bit of translucent powder at a time and really pressing it in. And what I mean by creasing is I naturally have a crease under my eyes, but I'm trying to avoid setting any extra creasing. Everywhere that I added that concealer, I'm setting with this translucent powder. I'm also going to go over my brows with the translucent powder. This will help remove some of that shine as well as set the concealer around my brows. And I'm using my finger to apply my bronzer on my nose, and I love the way that this turned out. Instead of using a brush, it wasn't as harsh as a brush would make it. So I think I will continue to do it this way. I'm taking this accent brush to help it blend out a little bit more. Now I'm going in with the mixture of setting powders that I mixed together, and I'm just applying it underneath my eyes to help set under there even further. I'm also going to take that same mixture and I'm applying it underneath that bronzer. This will help clean up that line a bit as well as give your face that more snatched look. Everywhere that I used my foundation is where I'm going to use this powder to really set everything into place. I also went over that bronzer just a little bit. I'm going to take my foundation brush to help blend and buff the rest of that powder into my skin. That way I can get rid of the excess powder before going in with my setting spray. I'm going to take this foundation brush to blend out the edges underneath my eyes, and then I'm going to go in with that accent brush to blend out the rest. To really make sure that that powder is nicely blended, I'm going in with a clean triangle puff with no product on it, and I'm just blending in underneath my eyes as well as the rest of my face to make sure that everything is nicely blended. Once I'm satisfied with how everything is blended, I'm going to set with my setting spray. I went ahead and did my mascara, a little bit of eyeliner, my lip liner, and lip gloss off camera. Hopefully you guys like this video as much as I did making it. Please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and also share with a friend.